Hello everyone and welcome. So this video is going to be a rather detailed description of the controls, the settings in the sim that I have right now to make the Fenix A320 family run rather smoothly. I'm also going to be giving my first impressions live this video. And conveniently for us, we are also flying live with flying live over the Grand Canyon. So we have live weather enabled but not live time. So the weird thing is we're having a little bit of a mismatch over here. So we're going to be flying live weather and make sure that we are getting the right kind of settings for the sim. So I'm going to be describing the settings that I have on the graphics side during the flight, so it's the same for the controls as well, using the menu provided within the toolbar here, which turns out to be quite useful. But we're gonna also get some breathtaking early morning views of the Grand Canyon as we fly from Salt Lake City, Utah to Phoenix, Arizona in the American Airlines A321, as you can see here. So I want to get, just for the convenience, I've set up everything in the McDo before I started the stream. I'm going to be pushing back now using the default pushback tool provided by Fenix. Whoops, wait. So this guy can go without even being connected. That's funny. So just for the sake of quote-unquote realism, I'm going to wait for this thing to connect. Or does he not want to do it? Yeah, looks like he is connected. Yep, the tug is connected. So I'm going to just hit connect tug. So I thought it might have already been connected. So that I thought there was another tug below. Alright. So PCA should also be turned off. I don't see why that is online. So without GSX, there's a little bit of issues here with the pushback. I'm not used to doing pushbacks without GSX, and GSX, well, it's kind of broken at the moment. For the sim, I have deactivated GSX. Let me switch off all of these lights so that you guys get a nice picture of what the sim looks like at night. It looks even better actually with these lights. They glow a little bit stronger. I'm gonna do just a straight pushback and ask him to stop. Okay. I'm gonna get engine 1 started first. For that I'm gonna go to the wing view. The PTU is getting activated for the first engine start, which is kind of strange.
In just a few moments, we'll be showing you the safety video.
I don't see the beacon. So the beacon is not visible. So the lights are a little bit bugged out for the 2024 Phoenix, guys, especially during the day. But this is an experimental version. It works really well. I did have one flight with it. Functionally, the flight model and all of that works pretty decently well in this sim. Obviously, it's more fine-tuned in 2020, but as you'll see.
On its way to one of our many destinations across the globe, made possible by our dedicated team members, who all do it for one reason.
That's why your safety is so important to us. Flight instructions so that we can get you safely on your way.
To open, lift the top of the buckle. And remember, seatbelts should be fastened whenever you're seated in case of unexpected turbulence. Now, make sure your seat is upright. All larger electronic devices are put away, carry-ons are placed all the way under the seat in front of you, and your tray table is stowed.
So the sim You can actually go to the first person view as well whenever you want while you're on the ground. So you can see the engine start from here, which is pretty cool.
U.S. law prohibits smoking and taking e-cigarettes at any time. Tampering with, disabling, or destroying smoke detectors in the laboratories may result in a fine. U.S. law requires all to comply with lighted and posted signs and crew member instructions. Now let's review the safety card in your seat pocket, which explains the safety features of this airplane, including the location and operation of exits and flotation devices. This aircraft was designed to
So is the engine starting up without me being inside? I don't know. That's an interesting thing. So, well, the engine does start up. It's just that I couldn't make out the difference in sound here. Pretty interesting. I do like the sounds inside the airplane more than outside them. Alright, we have 2 good starts. And the airplane is just moving on its own. Let me just get the parking brake off and then the taxi light on, runway turn-offs on. Get the APU bleed offline as well. Predictive wind shear. Let me see if I can get where WX plus T. That's done. We have it. So the ground handling, guys, the ground handling in this sim is significantly better than in 2020. So that is one of the big changes that I've seen. Apart from that, we do have some improvements in the flight model, although it is going to be a while before all of it gets translated into add-on aircraft. One of the other things that's missing is that I don't think the sim, when you change the weather and the METAR goes out here, you don't quite get the same kind of METAR over here corresponding to that same time. So I'm flying not real time, but so in the new sim, when you change the time of day, the weather at that time changes as well. So the METAR report, however, doesn't reflect that. So for that, I need to probably go here into the EFB and then go here for more info perhaps, and then that would help. Let me see if that works. That would be a interesting approach to deal with this issue. Let's see if that does have. So I'm still taxiing it idle, getting good performance here. The airplane is lightly loaded, so at idle thrust we are able to taxi pretty fast. Okay, let me get flaps 1, and arm the spoiler. We also need to get the anti-ice online. 010 at 11 knots. What about the weather? So altimeter 29904, 010 at 11 gust 15 knots, broken at 9,000 feet, few clouds at 900 feet, and then overcast at 110. So we're going to break out about 5-6 minutes after takeoff, probably maximum. So this is icing condition, so I'm obviously going to get the anti-ice online. In fact, this is usually not required, but I'm still getting it online for safety's sake. So the lights, the taxi lights are still a little bit dim, as you can see. There could be some work done over here to make things a little bit better in terms of the taxi light illuminating the ground. The Fenix, as always, guys, the sounds are unbeatable. Probably the best in any sim that I've heard. As you can hear this, it's really beautiful. And one thing that I cannot wait for is the breakout. Breaking out of the clouds today in the Salt Lake City airport is going to be incredible. And of course, after we take off, we will also get the opportunity to look at the clouds as we come in to land at Phoenix, because there should be some clouds on the way as well. And of course, If it's clear skies over the Grand Canyon, we'll get to see how good that looks from the sky as well. Because from the ground, at low altitude, the Grand Canyon looks great in the new sim, but I'm curious what it looks like from 33,000 feet. Alright, we're coming up on 3-4 right, but before we take off, I just want to do one thing here to showcase and in fact set up the reverse thrust and make sure that actually works. In the Bravo throttle quadrant, I want to make sure that I can put decrease thrust or decrease throttle or throttle 1 decrease. Throttle 1 decrease does work. Throttle 1 decrease, throttle 1 cut. Hold throttle, toggle throttle reverse thrust. This would be interesting. So if I can duplicate this and call it Fenix A320. So this is gonna be a part of the controls thing that I can probably clip and make it into a separate video for the Fenix, but let me just do this. That would be interesting. And I think I need to review how to do this for the reverse thrust, guys. So I think there's a couple of bindings that need to be done. I'll figure it out during the stream. So I'm able to get idle reverse, but then switching back out of reverse into a throttle cut, that is the idle position, is something that I need to figure out. Alright, let me get the landing light, strobe. So right now I'm using full rudder, guys, and I'm still having no effect. So that is pretty much different. I don't know what's more realistic, but using the rudder alone doesn't have that much effect in the sim. I wonder how this is going to be when we're having this gusting wind from the left hand side. A little bit, it's kind of quarter direction. It's not a direct crosswind, but it's a quarter direction crosswind from the right. So let's see how the takeoff performance is. Let me go to the wing view. And let's do a flight control check as well. From the wing view, it's always fun to do that. Toga thrust for today. That's always an option. Even if you program flex, it's just going to give you that much extra juice. Alright. V1, hands off the throttle, rotate. Positive climb, gear up. So I can barely see the numbers here. It's because of the lighting configuration or something with the bloom. I had to get it all the way down, and even then the numbers on the PFD are barely visible. Climb thrust. Keep the terrain online. sim already looks beautiful with all these clouds being denser than usual, the old sim. So dense clouds are one thing that the old sim actually missed. So we're getting that in this sim, and the cloud colors have also improved significantly. Still a ways to go to make it look photoreal, but this is real progress. I would say it's substantial, significant progress from the previous sim. Here's to hoping they don't dumb it down or make it lower resolution or something for some reason, because this looks really good. This is some really good progress on the clouds. Alright, so I have no stick input, guys, here, and the plane is just remaining absolutely still and stable. I don't know if that's realistic or not, because we are going through some thick cloud layers. Let me look at the wing to see some evidence of flex. Nope, no wing flex at all. So that's something which is still missing, I guess. Getting autopilot on, open climb. Still in the soup, and this is what IMC should actually look like. I'm waiting for the breakout. Flying at 9,400 feet. Should be hitting that altitude soon, guys. Beautiful, and here it is. Beautiful breakout. These clouds look absolutely incredible. There's one more overcast layer to go, but this breakout looked really good.
Visible to the crew when the seatbelt sign is on, as turbulence can happen unexpectedly.
Well, it is happening right now.
If you open an overhead compartment, use caution, as carry-on items may have shifted during takeoff.
Okay, we're going into the soup again. Let's see what it looks like in the wing view. I don't think it's going to look as epic as it does in the cockpit view, but let's see what it looks like. I don't think the wing's going to fade. Yeah, it doesn't. So they need to be able to make the wing fade at high cloud densities like this, so that would just complete this whole effect. You know, and it should actually be real, right? It should not be like you have a box around the aircraft so that nothing passes through it. That's when you get true volumetric feel for the clouds. So we're speeding up. So we're going to stay in the sweep for a little longer because we're still gaining that speed. Having pretty significant terrain threats to our right side right now here. Let's see what altitude they're at. About 11,000 feet here. We're above the terrain, so we should be okay. looks like the clouds are about to break, and there it is. That's the final breakout, guys. This is beautiful. Blue skies. That's absolutely incredible. They've done a great job with the global cloud density. The next thing that they need to do is to make sure that these cloud particles actually hit the airframe. Maybe that's too expensive to do, but that would actually look great. You know, to give you that even better sense of speed of the clouds coming right at you. So right now, up to this point, until you hit the clouds, you can feel the speed at which you're approaching them. But once you're hitting it, it kind of feels a little bit diffuse. So I think, you know, they can do some kind of tweaking there if possible, but I don't know, that might just be too computationally hard. It might just be too expensive to do. But this is great as it is. So I'm getting excellent performance on the Fenix thus far. Dare I say even better performance than I did in the previous sim, which is really strange. I think this is because I have a 4090 in this sim and a 7950 X3D, and this sim just uses all that compute power more efficiently. It's just using more VRAM for sure. Wow, this looks beautiful, guys. This truly looks amazing. Now my only hope is that we get to see the Grand Canyon and the clouds kind of clear up when we get there. Still have a ways to go before we reach the Grand Canyon area. We go look at the wing view again. It's funny how dark it looks like on the underside there below the clouds. Is there a better view that I can get? No. Yeah, this is pretty good. We go forward a little bit. Getting some turbulence as well due to the wind. That seems rather unnatural, but you know what? I mean, I guess that's some variability. I like those wing flecks there as we go through the clouds. This is not mechanical turbulence, guys. This is cloud turbulence. We're too far above the ground for the mechanical turbulence to kick in. Loving the cloud transition. And we're flying over and above the clouds now. This soaring is just really good. Still really beautiful, guys. Love the feeling of flying through the clouds like this. This actually feels more real than 2020. The only thing that they miss, as I said, is the wing fade effect as you fly through the clouds. That would make it truly wonderful. So as you can see, the fact that these clouds are thick make it more IMC compared to the previous sim, and that makes a lot of difference while flying. Because clouds are meant to reduce visibility, and in this sim it actually does. I love it. I love seeing these clouds pass by. This looks incredible. Wow. Wow. This is incredible. Get the belt off. In fact, you know what? Let me get it back again. We can leave it on for a little bit longer. It's going to be a bit bumpy. looks really beautiful. I have no idea what the weather is like up ahead because of, you know, this thing. I wish there was a way to disable the you know, the METAR, I mean the weather, live weather switching with your live time. There should be an option for that, right? I mean, again, it comes back to what the sim really sucks at, which is the UI, which is not really, it's not really friendly. You know, I need the gyro drift and everything else is off, that's fine, but I really don't know where to look for that setting. So let's see. Online, communication, weather, nothing for the weather. Alright. Okay, let me just look at that later then. If I go a little bit over time, let's see if we can get better visuals. Less clouds, maybe more view into the terrain. No? Okay. Not yet, I guess. We advance the time a little bit more. That's really messing things up with your with speed and all of that. But I'm really breaking this in. Yeah, the airplane really hates me because I'm subjecting it to so much stress out of nowhere. You do all these wind shifts. But I think this is going to be a little bit better as we go into the Grand Canyon. I'm hoping the weather, the clouds are going to be a little bit more forgiving. We're already just 120 miles out of Rice Canyon. So oops, is there a way to look down here? Yeah, so the controls are totally different from 2020, so it's kind of get used to it. I will go over. But I'm not going to go over the camera settings. For the camera settings, we do have other videos. Check out the one by Airborne Geek. It's pretty good. I'll try to put the link in the description after the screen goes out. But I will speak about the specifics of the Fenix 321 and 325 controls. Go over the controls real quick here. So for the A320, well, I do have some things done over here. So the only thing I've assigned here is for the A320 specific is landing light, strobes, beacon light, taxi light. So these are the keys that I have for those. And let me go a little bit further down. I think I'm going to delete this as well. So is there a way to delete it? No. So you cannot, you can only view keys here, but you can't really do anything about them. Alright, so So that kind of sucks. So let me just disable some of these controls that are conflicting. So this is the thing, guys. MSFS really, they've not done a good job with controls. It's because of this. Like they've not really cared about anything, you know, related to people who actually fly with controllers, not controllers, joysticks, you know, side sticks, yokes, rudder. So why do you need these assignments by default? I don't even know what this is, right? Like why? Why do you need it? I don't understand. So, oh, this is photo mode. Oh my God. Did it get saved? Oh, this is a disaster. All right. Well, I wanted to help you guys set up this thing, but it turns out I myself got confused. Well, I guess I'm not going to be using photo mode. Just if you're going to be using photo mode, please don't delete those. Read the description here. This is probably one of the worst UIs I've ever seen. All right. So for the Fenix, the controls remain the same. Autopilot off to disconnect the autopilot, and if there is a conflict, please delete it, because there is a conflict by default. The joystick button 1 on your Logitech thing can be used to reset the drone camera, which is what it assigns by default. So if there, for example, the autopilot off key has a conflict, make sure there is no conflict and delete it. So this has a conflict, so I want to see what conflict that is. Cockpit external view mode. Really? So why do you need that? So this is very, very unfriendly to use. So the other thing is cockpit quick view left right. And one of the other things that I have is load next and previous custom camera. I use the POV up and POV down. These are the hat switches on my joystick. So if you have a hat switch on your joystick with the up and down buttons, you can use that to load your previous and next custom cameras, provided you've set your custom cameras up. So, and the nose wheel steering axis is on the twist axis. And for this, I do have a dead zone because mine is a little bit old, but it's only a small dead zone. In MSFS 2020, you'd have more sensitivity curves. In 2024, your sensitivity curves in general can be reduced. So I managed to keep it at 0. In 2020, I had this at minus 30 or so percent, and the dead zone was at minus 15% instead of minus 10%. Now coming to the aileron and elevator axis, these are the sensitivities that I'm using, and it seems to work pretty well. It seems to work pretty well. You can dial it up and down based on your preference. For the elevator, I do have the side stick dampening system in the Fenix, the SDS on, and that does seem to help with the sensitivity as well. I'm still fine-tuning this as I speak, the elevator and aileron sensitivity. These are just good starting values. So for both the elevator and the aileron, I have them at minus 0.25 sensitivity. Then, another important setting that you need to have, obviously the trim down, trim up, although, you know, with the newer 320s, you don't need to set this. The older ones you do. Arm spoiler, yes, that needs to be set as well. Moving on to the throttle quadrant. For the Fenix, this decrease buttons don't actually work, so I'm going to get rid of them. And then this one requires you to go to the Fenix website. Let's say, for example, I have the Honeycomb Bravo throttle quadrant. So for me, I would want the simulator to toggle reverse thrust, and then to hold reverse thrust, because if you do have the toggle reverse thrust, you cannot quite increase the reverse thrust. So instead of toggle reverse thrust, you want to set it to hold reverse thrust. So let me delete this binding. Let me go to hold throttle. Okay. Oh, I need to change the filters from assigned to none. Yeah, that's another thing. So let me just enable this. So that should be it. So with hold throttle reverse thrust, hopefully this should work, because this is what the setting was in 2020, and it does work. And then similarly, we do have another couple of settings for gear up, gear down. Just like you did in MSFS 2020, it needs to be set to the gear lever. Set the same button same binding. In this case, it is gear up, which is button 31. It is the gear up key, and then you need to deploy gear up on press, and then once you release the gear up key, meaning you bring the gear back down, you activate the same button, meaning like when the gear lever goes from the up position back to the down, meaning the control button 31 has been released, then the gear goes down. So that's what it is. So there will be a conflict, but that's fine. It's just that the UI is not very good, so you're getting this kind of confusion. So use the same button, so one should be on press and one should be on release. It can go either way. You can either have button 32 for the gear down or 31 for gear up, but it should both have the same button. One should be for press and the other should be for release. Then these are of course the same, but here are my sensitivities. I do not have any curve at all over here, guys. Having a curve here like you have in 2020 would make the rudder very, very sluggish. So you do not need that for 2024. They've changed the ground handling model. Same for the brake as well. So I'm using the Winwings Orion or Skywalker rudder pedal. So that's about it for the short controls description. So let me just quit out of this. Flagstaff is up there, Grand Canyon is up there. We're around, let me proceed direct to Parker and we'll get an idea. So Parker, 302 Zulu projected, around 20 minutes before we're over the south rim of the Grand Canyon approximately. So hopefully the weather, the cloud cover improves. So we're still having some turbulence here over the cloud. Not switching on the belts though. Is that torn? Oh wow! It looks like it's torn. But yeah, I think it's just an imperfection, but you know, I think it's going inside the material of the seat, but it looks like it's torn. So at least from afar it looks a little bit, looks nice. Okay. altitude. Right. Hey. I did. I managed to figure it out. Yep. Yeah, hold reverse thrust, yeah. Why? You do have the, so I assigned it to both my, you know that, the lever that you pull? You can combine both and pull that, and then you can push the throttle forward to increase the reverse thrust. Yeah. So both the levers, right? Yeah, that's one. No, I said hold. I changed it to hold. Yeah. Okay.
I was assigned it to like this. How to explain? Like you basically your normal speed brake lever is on top, right? And
Yeah.
if it's disarmed and completely retracted.
Oh, you've
it's
reversed
on
that.
top. So I reversed that. So now if I want to arm the spoilers, I can just push it down, and that will arm the spoilers.
Okay.
And then if so for
I-
Airbus it is fine, right? Because it is not interfering with your throttle.
I'd say, the problem is like pushing it forward would be weird mechanically. So what I have is I have a button on my left side stick, left side on the side stick button. Like there are a bunch of buttons.
Doesn't matter. I
Yeah,
have
it's a
bunch of them
toggle.
too.
Yeah, exactly. You
Okay,
can use that.
got it.
That way you're not reversing the action, right? You're pulling it down.
Yeah, I reversed it only specifically for Airbus because we don't use throttle anyway. What I was worried about is hitting that speed brake lever while trying to push the throttle. forward.
Okay. Oh yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, I'm just
I
hoping
have
these
a bunch of
clouds.
I have a bunch of buttons too with the joystick, but I have not assigned them to anything.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think you can use those for the Airbus one. I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of screwing around with this.
I wish there was a way to like put detents on this thing.
Man, I wish there was a way to like share control profiles, man. Like, why don't they have like sensible
I don't know
control
why
profiles?
everyone has to Everyone has to set up new.
And there are so many duplicate bindings for the camera and the flight controls that if you accidentally
Yeah,
press
so
something.
no. So for the devices, so for all the devices that you don't want flight controls, you just disable flight controls on all of them.
Like none, right? Basically on keyboard.
None. Yeah, change it to none.
Okay. So let me show you what I have here. So let's see. So let me see. Assigned. So I just have, like, I started at none, and then I added just like the B key. That's it. For the altimeter. And then maybe some lights. That's it. Nothing more. And
Okay.
yeah, there should also be a way, like these guys can install like a way to kind of like set profiles for a specific aircraft, and you don't even have to change
You
it.
can do that.
Like
you
at
can
this.
do that.
Okay.
So once you set it up for this airplane and it gets saved, and as long as you don't hit apply to all aircrafts, that profile is specifically saved for that aircraft.
So
And will
whenever
not
you
have to
open
set it will automatically load that profile.
So is
whatever
it
you
like
have set
the
it.
specific A321 controls, or is it the airplane controls?
Airplane controls.
Okay.
Even the specific A321 controls, if there are any which are specific to A321, and if you've set them that way, then it will always load whenever you load that particular aircraft.
Okay. For me, I don't know why, but I have this airplane's controls. I have like this common controls for the A330 and A320.
Okay.
So, but then whenever I open the airplane, it defaults to MSFS 2024 controls for my
No.
joystick. I don't know why that
It's
happens.
never done it for me. Because for me, whatever I select for that aircraft, so for example, for mouse, keyboard, and for controller, I have assigned that to all aircrafts. So that part I never even have to touch ever.
Okay.
Right? I disengaged everything that is related to flight controls from mouse, keyboard, and controller because I don't want any of those three to interfere with my flight controls.
Yes, yeah.
Right? So all of those are just general.
Okay.
That's all. And
Okay.
keyboard has, mouse has some aircraft control, but that's just cockpit interaction.
Okay.
And then for the yoke, so what was your question again?
So when I switch out of my yoke profile, like let's say for example I set something on my side stick, okay? Now my side stick is set up properly, etc. But when I open this airplane again, I'm not sure, like let's say I open another livery, is it possible that the controls I have to set them, like I have to select them again like A330, not set the controls themselves, but just choose it?
As long as you have opened that profile with that airplane and set everything up and you saved and backed it,
Okay.
I've never had to change. Like I've never had to go back to the settings menu and then scroll through it again to select the right profile. So for example, for 172, if I load the 172, it is going to load my single engine prop, airplane controls, and general controls for my throttle quadrant,
Okay.
and for my yoke and for my joystick, all of them at once.
Okay.
So you just have to do all of this once, and then it automatically
set and forget?
saves. Set and forget, yes.
Okay, so I'll have to open this airplane again. So are you seeing my stream? It actually looks really good. Like the ground and all of
I
that.
don't know. So when I was landing at IAH, I saw all kinds of like trees,
Oh, is it?
glitches and whatnot. Some areas are really good. There's still server issues going on. It was good, at least from right now to 3
Clouds are insane. Clouds
Clouds are really good.
But if you go back, like, did you do any cloud surfing yet with these jets?
No, it was
Clear skies. So
cloudy,
check out
but just
my
like this, what you're
takeoff.
seeing right
Check out my takeoff from Salt Lake and see the breakouts. There were 2 breakouts.
Yeah,
One,
I saw that.
You saw that, right? It's crazy. And now I want to see how the Grand Canyon looks like from above. Like thus far.
Also,
I'm
I feel
impressed.
like everything below the clouds look too bad.
Oh yeah. especially
too
with
dark. Like
dense.
it almost seemed like I spawned at night.
Really?
Yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, it was that dark.
I mean, I think that's somewhat okay, right? Like, I mean, it's not a bad thing. I think they can just tune it, like with Atmos, you're able to tune that, right, a little bit. So, yeah, it doesn't matter that much. Like,
Yeah, from this altitude it looks good, and then when I was landing in Houston, everything started glitching. And the trees were all toppy, and it almost seemed like it's not even an actual tree, it was just like polygons.
oh, yeah. The tree bug was there from the alpha as
Yeah,
well. You know, like blocky
polygon.
trees, right?
Yes, blocky tree, like almost like square rectangle.
Yeah. I've seen that before.
Yeah.
They managed to get rid of the ash of the. Does vPilot work? Yeah, because the one thing I want to test is like wave turbulence. Because then flying online will be nice. The terrain looks really good so far. I'm hoping to see similar results as I fly over the canyon. Just totally clouds this far. That's promising. I'm so tempted to remove the clouds and set clear skies just for this, but the wind speed here is crazy, and that's going to be a lot of crazy. 73 miles out of the ground. Something like that. Another thing, guys, if you guys see any option to disable that white toolbar screen, that should be something that needs to be done.
Someone like thanks. Someone needs to have a word with the boys at Asobo that designed this ridiculous control system.
Who said that? Where? In your comments? Oh yeah, I saw your video. Alright, here's the moment of truth, everybody. We're over the Grand Canyon, finally. And I have to say, this actually looks better than 22. It's significantly better. I don't know if you guys remember, there is some loading and popping stuff over here, but that's beside the point. Now what's important to notice is the geometry of these canyons. Let me go to the outside view for a better look at it. Look at that. Right here I can see some improvements. Although those sharp details are not being rendered in here, the coloring does seem to have improved. I don't know if this is just me. It appears that the base layer to the Grand Canyon weakness that they may have shown up but the details are still missing. As you can see, they still look sharp. I don't think they'll be able to capture that detail at this altitude. The LED just not there. But I do see more. I do see some improvement there in the data. Let's see what happens when we're actually at the moon, because that's where I think we have a lot going on. We do have some more geometric features there, which not exactly as sharp as I wanted to be, but still sharp. The coloring is really nice. This is just due to the atmospherics. Due to the atmospherics that show up. And as you can see there, we do see these details loading in there. I don't know if you can see it, but just want to see if I can increase the zoom level here. As you can see, we're getting more details of the Grand Canyon, and it certainly looks better than 22. It is an improvement. The thing is, only if you go closer will all of it load. Right now you're getting hits of that detail, those rock formations and all of that. It's just like rendering partly, I guess, to be optimized. But I'll take it because we're flying IFR and we don't have anything on our disk. It is all being streamed in and it looks pretty good. So I would call this a success. I don't know about you, but I would call this a success. And there's not significant popping as well. So at this altitude, this looks really, really good for the altitude. But as you go lower, it looks even more incredible, but that's beside the point. So the GCN airport is to our left. So that is approximately where the south rim is. But this is still looking good, even though it's outside of that area. So what I can do is, we can take a short detour. Fly over the south rim. And then join back up on Fenix. I'm going to increase the flight time a little bit. And that doesn't overload me enough for that with the speed. And we will also be getting a bit of tailwind compared as we fly there. Another control modification that I want to make life a little bit easier. There should be a way to like combine keys, a keyboard and the mouse. To be honest, they have so many options, but apparently they've forgotten about that. Okay, you know what? Looks like they can't be done. So I'm going to leave that alone. So mouse wheel zoom by holding control would be a really useful thing for zooming into these features of the vision you want. Because this manual and auto zoom thing doesn't work, so I have to resort to all of these tricks. So as you can see guys, this still looks blurry as I zoom in. So that's interesting, it's loading up right now. So obviously there is the limitation of the sim showing up over here. But once it does load up, it looks incredible. So this loading and streaming of data there's nothing we can do. This is a limitation of just data, right? How can you bypass this unless you're generating data which is completely fake, or you are storing some of it, rolling cache or manual cache or something over here, so that we can just hallucinate these details. But without doing that, the lag in or latency in loading is going to be something that we'll have to live with. Okay. We are flying through some cloud here. It's compromising our view of the canyon. Closer and closer, guys, to the north rim, or the south rim, and this actually looks incredible. So once everything is loaded, guys, this looks really good. So this is obviously a ton of data, so we can still, I would still call this a success. Because even before the details loaded, it didn't look awful, So frankly speaking, I think, you can't really ask for too much more than this in the terrain department. The only thing I'm worried about, obviously, is what happens if the servers are laggy, and how often are they going to be laggy. So that is the only question that remains. But apart from that, assuming that the servers work well, this is just absolutely incredible. That big photo data issue. So we do have some of the photogrammetry issues in the sim, but now discounting that, things do look amazing. I can probably reroute back to our original assigned routing. We're past the Grand Canyon. The terrain data looks pretty good. Let me just take us back. We're doing a little bit of a parallel thing over here. So I'm just going to bypass a few of those waypoints. Bit of a direct cursor. So that should be fine. And I do think that we're going to see Flagstaff to our side. That's Flagstaff. It's still a bit blurry, but you know, what do you expect? That's like 40, 70, 80 miles away. Right? As the crow flies, we do have the flag VOR. Actually, that's closer than that. It's 40 miles away. But still, that's quite a distance. I don't expect it to be really in detail of that distance. I'll let you know. There is a reason the performance is this good. That being said, I do like the performance we're getting over here and the localized terrain data of the ground. Coming up just past Flagstaff to the south, we're going to be beginning our descent into Phoenix and assign runway 26 for so since we're using a different time than the original live weather, I'm gonna expect that our wind and altimeter data over here is not gonna match. As you see here, this is not the correct data. So for that, we have to go to the EFB here, and then probably zoom out, and then find Phoenix. I'm going to just type in here, Sky Harbor, and look at this. So this is probably more reliable. I think this is showing local time. Just let me verify that. Yes, 11:42, and then it's 17:51. It's about an hour old, 45 to 50 minutes old. So mostly reliable, and then we don't have too much changes forecast either way. So we do have light winds coming from 120 degrees, about east side, and we have very few clouds at high altitude. So I'm just going to enter this data down here, just the usual stuff. And transition flight level is specified. I wonder if this is a cold temperature correction, because usually it's flight level 180. I could be wrong. So I'm just going to put flight level 180 here. Temperature is 19 degrees centigrade. So this looks like daytime temperature. And altimeter 300. Since we're going to be doing an ILS, you know what? Let's just switch that out of an ILS. Let's do an RNAV approach if we have it. RNAV Yankee approach. No need of any bias. Do I need it? Okay, you know what? I'm too lazy to do that. I'm just going to stick with the ILS and go visual. Let's reach there because we are VFR. So we have the data for the arrival set up, and that should be it. down south into Arizona's, Phoenix, the green just disappears and we're with more desert here. And this data is also pretty good, as you can see. We're getting far higher resolution, guys. This is not placebo, this is real data. So we're getting far higher resolution of these topology of these mountains. I have not seen anything this sharp in MSFS 2020 ever. Maybe my eyes are playing tricks on me. If it is, let me know in the comments below. But to me, this is significant. Just in case my reversers decide not to cooperate, I want to be able to exit quick. Oh yeah, this is definitely, look at that resolution, guys. Look at that resolution. Really good resolution. Screw it. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna assign a couple new buttons to the zoom in and zoom out. Maybe this was not going to be a bad idea. There you go. Not bad. And it doesn't screw with my mouse wheel. If your mouse has additional buttons, guys, you can feel free to use it, you know. If you have additional mouse buttons on a gaming mouse or something like that, do feel free to use it. Down to big data. So this side is colored a little bit differently, as you can see. And as you can see, there's a little bit of a coloring difference on the left and the right here as well. That is just a big data issue. It's nothing major, to be honest. They can fix it if they want to, but it looks great without it. It's fine. Alright, we're coming up on Berser at about 25 miles. I'm just wondering if we can actually slow down a little. Or if we need some speed brake action to get rid of the speed. probably, let me see where we are exactly. Open up my charts. So I have them on my tablet, so it's kind of easier for me. Let me just import, open up the charts. And this thing is tracking us at. We're over Cordis Lakes, so I remember that place. So every time when I drove down from Flagstaff, there's actually a Tesla supercharger here. I remember deliberating upon when I was driving down from the Grand Canyon down to Phoenix. I had to deliberate on when I should stop for charging, and Cordis Lakes, where we're flying over right now, was one of the options for charging the car. And after this, you only have a charger, I guess, closer to Phoenix. I think there's one over Black Canyon City, but I'm not sure. We're coming over Black Canyon City, which is the Bruiser waypoint. Bruiser, not Bruiser, Bruiser. And that's the Black Canyon City up ahead. Still kind of blurry, as you can see, but you know, at normal viewing distances, when you're flying, it doesn't really show up. You have to really zoom in to max zoom level to see the blurries. And out in the distance over there is Lake Pleasant. We reset the altimeter. Having 29904, it says. Okay, I'm going to set it to 3001. And just then we can figure out whether the data coming in from the tablet, this new tablet here, is actually reliable. Because the time is, I guess, an hour old. So the weather data is still not going to be super reliable, I guess, but let's see how much the pressure has actually changed. So this actually looks really ugly, guys. It seems like this half of it is like 2020 data. It looks pretty much like 2020. And that other half is where they've done all the work on 2024's photogrammetry. So this transition is actually really abrupt. It doesn't really look that good. This zoom also happens really fast. I don't know how to make it slower. So whatever. It's fine. Ooh, LH454 Super. Okay, I know who that is. Hey, what's up? Amazing! Phoenix. We're flying over, coming closer and closer to Scottsdale actually. Scottsdale is just south of us, about probably 20-30 miles tops. Scottsdale, POR. You see Scottsdale, POR? Okay, Scottsdale is about 20 miles away. But Scottsdale does not have a VOR connected, so it's just a Phoenix, so that's fine. Okay, getting the speed brakes down a little bit, laid off some speed and get back on path. And I'm gonna go open descent for this one. Let's see if we can get that. So we just need to be at 7,000 at that point there. 7,000 at, I don't know what this one could be. Yeah, maybe at 7,000 there. So this photogrammetry right here looks very average. Looks very similar to 2020, maybe even a little worse, I would argue, because I don't know, I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to say it's worse, but the data is just like a little bit off here, the colors and all of that, and it's just showing up more obviously here. So there's also a lot of blurries here, probably due to the server issues. You see, the data is not loading in properly, guys. So this is one of the things that does worry me about 2024. We need to give it obviously some time to bake in. So I'm gonna just wait for a few more months before giving my final judgment on that. But one thing is for certain, I'm not gonna buy any 2024 specific airplanes apart from the ones that I already have. And I do have the premium deluxe version. To be honest, the standard version itself would have been enough. The only thing I care about at the airports more than the airplanes, because we do have the Fenix already, and there's like the standard version does come with the 737 MAX, and I think even the inbuilts 330 and 321, if I'm not wrong. The versions above that add some more specialty aircraft, I think. I don't know what they are, but I think it was the Boeing 747 tanker and all of that. But for me, what I care more about are the add-on, I mean, handcrafted sceneries. Alright, so this is what it looks like during daytime. I'm curious what this thing looks like at night. Let me just switch back to real time. Am I gonna regret this? Not really. Okay, it still looks good at night. Not gonna lie, this looks good at night too. In fact, I would argue that the imperfections are less visible over nighttime. As you can see, the nighttime looks a little bit better, in my opinion. Okay, let me switch back to daytime. I'll do a nighttime flight later on. What time was it? Around 11? I think 11:14 or something. That was the time that I said earlier. I mean, I'm not happy with the resolution of these terrain textures and all of that, but it is being streamed in, so they're working on the server issues. So I'm going to complete this flight during the day. 3003. And now I'm going to get us down to 3,000 as quick as possible and then join the crew for that short final. Let me see if I can get flaps 1. And all of that look weird still. Like, Phoenix should not have these many trees. It doesn't look realistic at all. So honestly, the sim's night environment is more believable than the daytime environment. Lead off some speed, 200 knots, and maybe get the next notch of flaps in. So once we're at Huras, we're going to make that turn to Prune, then intercept the islas there. Alright, we can get turn. Arm spoiler. I would still say this looks better than the auto-ortho scenery from X-Plane, but I would expect a little bit more sharpness in this ground texture here, which I don't see. I'm not sure, that could, I mean, all of my settings are pretty much at ultra. Flaps 2. Okay. There's way too many trees for Fenix. So this is one thing that the developers have, they need to tone it down. Like I don't know if they'll be able to do it as like a generative thing, so I don't know what they need to tune to do it, because this is clearly not manually done. And the other thing is the photogrammetry data doesn't exist for Fenix yet for some reason. It was there in 2020, it's not there in 2024. So if you're flying to Fenix, I'd say fly at night because it looks amazing at night. In daytime, you'd be disappointed compared to what it was in 2020. 2020, Fenix looked much better. So all of this, it used to be actual photogrammetry data, but right now you're having default buildings. Alright, we're at 1700 feet. Let me drop the gear at 1500. But I will slow down to 160 knots. Getting flaps full. Things sounds really good though, but that's just Fenix. Right, Fenix has been amazing even in the old sim. Alright, gonna get the autopilot disconnect. I have control. Landing, all green flaps full. This looks comical. Like, this is not how Fenix, yeah, they could have done a better job, but with the trees and all of that. But I think that's down to photogrammetry being absent. That's weird. Alright, let's just get it down to minimum speed. We should have configured a little bit faster than this, but that's okay. We're on the glide.
500.
500 checked. A bit of a tailwind component.
About.
Glide slope says I'm a little bit too low, but I'm going to trust the puppy lights and the seems a little bit correct from this way.
Flight slow.
Yep, that's checked. That's erroneous.
Flight slow.
Checked.
40, 30, 20,
20.
retard, drive,
Kind of floaty as hell.
drive,
Go maximum reverse. Medium auto brake. 60 knots, stow the reverser. Manual brake. It's coming to a full stop. It's 10 knots. Flaps up.
Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the
Just walk it down
seatbelt
a
sign
little
is turned off. And keep the aisles clear of all carry-on items. Take a moment to check your seat back pocket for any personal items, like tablets and cell phones. When you open the overhead compartment, be careful, as items may have moved in flight.
So the rudder effectiveness on the ground has reduced, which is great. Just reset that, clear reset. The APU online. On, complete. So this airport actually looks incredible at night. So just to showcase you guys, it actually performs better than 2022. So here, go lifetime. There you go. So the airport looks incredible at night, as you can see. So this is real time. I guess that Camelback Mountain looks too bright here. So the data in the lighting is a little bit too overexposed up there. I don't know if it should be that bright, but I mean it's better than it being too dark, I guess. It is a balance after all. But this annoying toolbar thing coming up every time I hold the mouse is annoying, and I have no idea how to get rid of that. Alright, let's make this turn here into that terminal. Make that turn at 10 knots. Alright, our APU bleed has come online. Gotta make this turn here, it's a bit tight. Gonna take us to that last gate on that far right side there. Let's see if I can make it into that terminal there, this exit, this entrance. I think there's Alpha 18, if I'm not wrong. If my memory serves me right, or is it Alpha 20? I don't know. It's Alpha 18, that it is, Alpha 18. Okay, let me get rid of the light. Common courtesy. Off. I forgot to is a long airplane, so parking this is going to be a little bit of a challenge. So I need to go a little bit to the left, or right rather. There's no ground to help me out here, so I'm just going to leave it as is. That was a bad parking, but it is what it is. Get the engines off, lights on, seatbelts off. And
Fighters, verify the sun doors stand by protocol.
fuel pump offline. Alright. All things considered, it does look ugly, but it's not horrible. Alright. External power on, APU bleed can go off. I don't have the clock set up, so that's not a problem. Toggle jetway. There you go, that's the jetway. I think it's going to come to the left door. Let's hope the door opens on its own. Door's opening on its own. And to enjoy the sounds of the cargo hold opening up, let me remember the 7. 7 is my view key for this one. There you go. That's the cargo door opening up. I don't have GSX installed yet, so there's the SkyTrain right there. Pretty good. Well, I'm going to call this a day. It certainly was fun. The ground effect is a bit strong on the Fenix compared to the default MSFS planes, but this is an experimental version, guys, so there's a lot of work yet to be done on this. But for the first version, I did not expect Fenix to release this airplane so soon after release, and it's already pretty good. So I want to end this stream by applauding Amir and his team at the Fenix Simulations, and I hope this video does reach a lot of people, although I'm not a dedicated streamer. If it does reach a lot of people, I'll make more videos like this.